Hi, my name is Kayla.
And I'm Hannah.
And this is
Read Lair Wewinik,
a YVC Library podcast. Today we will be covering A Dark and Drowning Tide by Allison Saft. And I'm ready to dive on in with Miss Hannah here. It was a pretty good read.
It wasn't really good.
So let's start off with our first sort of like introductory question. What did you think about our two main characters, Lorelai and Sylvia?
I was kind of getting like an enemy kind of vibe, like
I know.
and
I
like
kind of ate it up.
I was gonna say the same thing.
Like girly enemy to lovers. I'm like, ah.
I was booked. I was busy.
Immediately, I was like, you know what, Lorelai? I love your like poopy attitude.
Oh yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Let's, pop off, Lorelai. I too am bitter
Yeah.
and annoyed. I mean, rightfully so though.
Yeah.
So no, I dug them straight from the get. Even Sylvia, I was like, oh.
Yeah. I knew they were gonna,
Yeah. I don't know why, but Sylvia Von Wolf to me is like such a cult leader name, so I was like, she's definitely a cult leader.
That's also like such a bad name.
I know, I was like okay, pop off, Miss Von Wolf.
Yeah, like that's a crazy name. Good
like,
for her.
I have like the most basic name ever, Kayla. What would you do if you found yourself on the expedition to the Ursprung?
Probably cry.
What? You're telling me you have like this magical journey ahead of you. You could get like untold power from this magical Ursprung.
Okay, well, I don't know.
Well, obviously power corrupts, but I would definitely dip a toe in there, let me tell you.
Well, yeah. I think it would be like, when you are gonna go do something and you're like, this sounds super exciting, and then you go to do something and you're like, I actually hate it here.
Yeah, that's fair.
I feel like that would be the vibe.
I mean, I feel like the expedition would be stressful, especially considering what happened during the book. But I'm not saying that I'll be in the same plot line there.
But different
honestly,
timeline.
if I found myself on an expedition to the Ursprung and nothing was going wrong, I'd be like, okay, this is fun.
I'm eating this up.
Like, get me to this mystical water
It's giving
body.
me cruise vibes.
I know. I was jealous. I want to discover, like, mysterious magical water. Literally. So now, let's kind of get into the characters more. As you know, Lorelai and Sylvia had a mentor. They went on the expedition on her behest. And I'm not going to lie, she died pretty quick.
Yeah,
right at the beginning of the book.
It was super quick.
So who was your first suspect when we found out that the mentor was murdered? And I know I keep calling her the mentor, but in my defense, I can't exactly remember her name. I think it was Ziegler.
Yeah.
But...
Well, to be fair, you had this back in, like, October, and I had it back before it came out.
Yeah, it's like... So my mind is kind of spotty, but...
She perseveres.
I think my first subject when the mentor was murdered was... I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was, like, a fake suicide.
Oh,
I thought I thought that was, like, fake body. There was some magic there.
Yeah.
I thought we were, like, going on, like, a double con mission here.
Well, it was the way that they kind of, like, stumbled upon it.
I know,
and
I was
then,
like, this is unique.
This is definitely something that's moving
I was like, there's
plot.
a conspiracy at play, but there was a conspiracy at play, but not the conspiracy I was thinking of.
They weren't cooking up.
Yeah.
Cooking up. Honestly, like you kind of said, I thought it was kind of like a suicide ploy, like she...
Mm-hmm. I was like, where is she actually?
Yeah, like, she was behind it. That's the vibe I was getting. I was like, okay.
Because we know, like, later in the book that they're charting the wrong course.
Yeah.
So I was like, she definitely, like, faked it and then went off to find the Ursprung by herself. But no, she was actually dead.
Could you imagine? That would have been such a bad move.
Oh, no, she was just dead. So, like, Speaking of their mentor, Ziegler, did you think she always intended to betray Sylvia and Lorelai? Or do you think that was something... Because I know this expedition was years in the making.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm wondering, do you think she always had the plan just to turn everyone around and do some messery?
I'm going to say something like, probably, like, it's going to sound kind of cuckoo bananas.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, when you do something without, like, malice intent, and then, like, the malice intent kind of presents itself, and you're like, I'm going to be the villain.
I think you're right. I think that's a good point, because, like, she kind of raised them a little bit. She taught them everything that she knows, like, but just to betray them right at the very end.
Yeah, like I don't
at the start of this expedition they've been spending years working towards.
I don't think she went into it with malice intent, but I think when the opportunity presented itself, she was like,
I think ultimately at the end, greed corrupted, power corrupted, and she, like many others, flew too close to the sun with her wax wings. And then she ended up murdered, so...
Yeah, I mean, rip. If the shoe fits.
Literally. Speaking of attempts on people's life and murder, during the book, there were multiple attempts on Lorelai's life. If she weren't Yeva, do you think she would have been as targeted?
No.
I don't think that she cared. They cared that she was, like, sapphic.
It was definitely the Jewish plot.
But yeah, no, I agree. Considering her whole identity is why she was targeted.
Yeah.
Her people are, like, looked down on.
Frowned upon.
Yeah. I feel so bad for her.
Oh, absolutely.
She missed out on so many opportunities just because of her birthright, like many people in the United States. But that's nor here nor there. Speaking of which, how does the power struggle between the ruling class and Yeva affect the story?
Honestly, kind of like you mentioned.
Yeah.
That, religion and class is so looked down upon that, like, not everyone's getting equal opportunities.
Yeah, much if you're Yeva, you get, like, viewed as, like, the dirt at the bottom of the shoe. Like, you're evil.
The scum of the earth.
Yeah, literally. You could definitely draw some, like, comparisons between the book and the real world.
Oh, absolutely.
Marginalized people get looked down on all the time and face very similar things, if not the same. And that brings us to number 7. What are the parallels to real-world issues of marginalization? There's obviously a lot of issues in the United States with marginalization and minorities, and I think the book really played a good parallel to that.
Oh, absolutely, and I think...
It was almost a protest in itself, and I really enjoyed that.
And I think if you are someone going into this book and you're not thinking about that, it definitely brings...
Yeah, it definitely makes you think about it.
Yeah,
like, wow.
It brings it to light.
This is awful similar.
It may be like what we're experiencing now, folks.
Yeah, exactly. So I really think Allison Saft tied that in.
Oh,
perfectly.
I thought that was beautiful.
It was so good.
It was also beautifully written.
Now let's get to a less serious, kind of serious question. If you went on that expedition, you came in contact with the Earthsprung, do you think the power would corrupt you, or do you think you could handle it? Because as we see, the first kind of evil girl that gets to the Earthspring, the power makes her even crazier, and she starts everybody.
I think my little tidbit is I think evil Hannah would take over. So.
Oh, really?
You've seen it in action.
See, I feel like I wouldn't be fully corrupted, but I definitely do some morally gray things in the name of personal justice.
Yeah, because I think, like, going into it, like, I could sit here and be like, no, I don't think that, but, like, history repeats itself time and time again, so, like, unless I'm actually there with the power, I'm not saying, when the opportunity presents itself, who knows? If I'm not there, I can't say.
And who's to say that it doesn't magically corrupt you, like, otherwise, personality aside? Who's to say that power just doesn't override your beings and eons, ions? That probably doesn't make sense, you guys, and I apologize. I'm thinking of, like, molecules or whatever. But yeah, no, I'd like to think that I'd be able to handle it, but I'd definitely go off.
Oh, absolutely.
Anyways, fantasizing aside about how I'd go off with such massive power, let's talk more about the book structure itself. What did you think about the world building and the mythology?
I thought it was so beautifully done. I love books that, world build, but I find myself having a hard time getting into them, and also...
That's fair.
It's
kind of hard because there's, like, this whole setup, and you have to try to remember every nook and cranny of the universe, and then you're, like, in chapter 10, they're like, the people of the goldfish mines
I'm like,
only eat this certain mineral during these times.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah, no,
I will say I love books that provide a map.
Oh my god, I love a map book.
So you can flip back and see the map.
It's like, this is where we are in the story right now, you guys. Oh my goodness. Now, let's go a little bit more into just the book structure. So... during the book, there was only one POV, and that was Lorelai. She was our main character. Do you think dual POVs would have benefited the story more, or do you like it as a single?
My issue with dual POVs is sometimes I get a little lost. I feel like sometimes dual POVs lose the plot a little bit.
That's fair. I like a good dual POV just because... I like knowing what both characters are thinking and feeling, but it is very easy when you're doing more than one POV for the plot to get mixed up.
Yeah.
Or for confusion to appear. Like, once there's more than 3 people we're switching to, my eyes start going cross-eyed. I'm not gonna lie. But no, I get where you're coming from. I like to enjoy the understand the characters as much as I can, but in some stories, in some cases, you just can't do that.
Needed,
you need a single. So yeah, I think the single was pretty good, but I would have liked to know a little bit more about the inner workings of Sylvia's mind.
Yeah.
Just because
she was a girl boss.
Love her. Like, what's going on in that little noodle of yours, Sylvia?
What's going on in that coconut head of yours?
Is there anything at all, like, you would have changed about the story?
A map.
A map? Are you sure there wasn't a map at the beginning? I mean, I don't remember a map.
Well, I got it off NetGalley, and I don't remember there being a map.
Yeah, I don't remember there being a map as well. I think a map would have been really nice.
Yeah.
Personally.
I mean,
so what did you think about the ending overall?
Overall, I think it shows that power does corrupt when given to the wrong people.
That's true.
I feel like anyone. I feel like if you have enough power, you're just gonna turn evil.
That's
you
fair.
Can't convince me otherwise.
I'd like to think that I would be like the exception.
Like
me, of course.
The lesser evil?
Yeah, no. But then I'd definitely end up doing some dumb things.
Yeah, she'd do something dumb and you'd be like, oh, well.
Ban monkeys or something.
Ban orangutans.
Literally. But yeah, I don't think there's anything I necessarily would have changed about the story either, but I would have liked to delve into Sylvia's head just a little bit more. Because like I said, the book was great with just Lorelai's main POV. It was so good. We both rated it 5 stars. But I'm curious. I want to know more about Sylvia. I'd read the book again from Sylvia's perspective, to be honest. I think that would be a fun time.
Like, I think that would be so good to have, like, one telling in Lorelai's and the other in Sylvia's. I think that'd be really...
I think that would be fun. Like they did with Twilight. Hoa, hoa. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed the book. I think it was a great read. And if you guys wanted to read it, we could do an interlibrary loan, or you could check it out on Libby.
Absolutely.
Because Hannah and I ate it up very much.
We did eat it up.
Any closing thoughts, Miss Hannah? Besides book good?
Book good, bowing bad.
Yeah. Book good, power corruption bad. So sad.
Frowny face.
All right, well, then I think we're good to go. We hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.